What's up, you guys? Welcome back. And we have the all new King Saladeen. So, we're going to let some people get up in the room and we're going to break this down. And I also have some clips of me using it that I want to share with you. And we're going to get started today. So, hope everybody is doing well. Let me know if you guys can see me. Let me know if you guys can hear me okay. And if you guys would like to purchase the product, you guys can type the word King in the comments and you guys will see a little comment pop up and you guys can actually watch it through our eStreamly software. So with that being said, let's see, let me get my comments up. Let me get everything going here. What's up, Rusty? Good to see you in the room, man. Good to have a moderator here. If you guys see this little comment, this little comment right here, if you comment King, you guys will come to the eStreamly chat and you guys will see where you can purchase any and everything from Stylecraft. So we're working with a little bit of YouTube shopping stuff here today. So with that being said, let's have a look at this clipper. Now, one thing that's really cool, thank you Cuts by Kev showing up. Thank you guys all for jumping in. One thing that's really cool, man, is the artwork. Now, for those of you guys who don't know, King Saladeen, he is first and foremost a street artist, and he is known for the money bear. I heard that if you touch it, rub it, or look at it, or whatever, that sounds a little dirty, but if you do all those things, supposedly it brings you some good luck, all right? So he's known for kind of mixing, street art with different types of fine art, and we decided to do a little bit of a collaboration with this guy right here. So let's go ahead and let's open this thing up. Right off the bat, you see that you got all three lids here. And this is not necessarily the first time this thing has been out of the box. I've actually been cooking with this thing, and we're going to get into it. But before we do, let's just check out these other cool lids, because I'm actually, sorry, we got a little crinkling going on. I'm actually giving some serious, consideration here to going with that Baja lid. I just think that looks so cool and so retro. Which one you guys would pick? I mean, if you had this clipper, or if you do have this clipper, which one would you guys go for? Now, the lid that comes on it's really cool. This is the one that's got the money bear on there, and this is the one that I've kept on there for the time being, for now. But we'll break this down here. But let's just talk about what else we get in the box, because you guys ask all the time, does it come with guards and stuff like that? And it does come with guards, and you guys can check this out. I've already opened this up. You also get your stretch bracket here. Now, for those of you guys who may or may not know what this does, this stretch bracket will allow it to open up to a number 1. And that's a number 1 on a detachable. So it allows you to have a little bit more free play in your lever. So if we push that all the way down, you'll actually get another click that you can open it up a little bit further. Now, the double magnetics, these are actually tight guards. And I haven't actually used these because I already used the tight guards, and I have some blue ones and I got some red ones with the 360 GZ clipper. But if you look at the bottom, these magnets are actually so secure, they're not going nowhere. Like this thing here. So in addition to that, you'll also get some really cool levers. And, when it comes to Stylecraft, you guys can think like customization is really, it. They are really big into letting you do that. Now, what we have here actually is a super torque rotary motor under the hood. It has 3 hours of runtime. This click lever, and the one thing that really makes this thing a beast when it comes to fading is the fade blade that we have up here. So you guys can see that it actually has the Echo Crunch blade, not fade blade, sorry, Echo Crunch. So if you guys look, these deep ridges here are what everybody's kind of after, because this makes a real specific sound. And I just love using it with the click lever. But if you decide, you can put your stretch bracket on there. You can go floating taper too. You don't have to have it click. Some of you guys came up to me at the shows in Orlando Premiere. You were like, I just don't like a click lever. Look, I get it. I actually don't get it, because if you have a click lever, you're going to be able to do just about anything. It just takes maybe a little getting used to for you. But it's very easy for me to teach with this, because I can communicate with it. And I could say, okay, guys, we're going to move it 2 clicks down. How hard is that? So me personally, as somebody who goes around teaching people how to cut hair, this clipper is a really good one to get started with. You guys always ask, what's a good beginner clipper? I think if you have that Erggo Crunch blade, that's definitely going to make things a little bit easier. And if we think about the blades that we have here, we have the Erggo Crunch blade, we have the Vapor blade, we have a taper blade, and we have a fade blade, right? And there was all kind of questions about all the differences here between all of those. Got to plug in a drive here. I got a little video I'm going to share with you guys of this thing putting some work in. This was one of the first cuts I did with it, by the way. But really, for a clipper that you're just getting started with, you might not want to start off the gate with like something super, super powerful that's going to blow through every section. This machine is a really good blend of power and finesse, and it'll allow you to get pretty much anything you want to get out of a haircut quite easily. Like, let's say a client walks in, he's got a lot of bulk. You want to remove that bulk off the sides. You guys can join, if you guys see this little thing here, you guys can join this link here to Live Shop. If you just comment the word King, or you guys will see that down below. It's not spam, it's not nothing. You guys can actually do some live shopping. We're running some deals. And if he said, is it just me or is there no sound? Let me make sure my microphone is working on this side here, because I think you might be right. Let's see here. Thought I turned it on. No, it says it's showing sound. Yeah, no, we're good. I think it's you. Yeah, so what we were thinking about doing, Matt, which I didn't clear this with you because you left the meeting, but what we were thinking about doing was, for any of you guys who purchase anything today, drop your order number in the comment section here, and we're going to pick somebody out of that to eventually win something. So it's still a work in progress, all right, but we're going to give it a try, all right? So lock in, and if you choose to purchase something, drop your order number. We're going to check it out, and we will be dropping that in there. So let me see what I got here. I got something in my downloads, and let's drop this in here. Give me just a second to bear with me. We're going to drop this in here. All right, so this is one of my favorite customers in the world. I love this kid because every single time he comes in, he's like, yo, let's do a design. I know I'm kind of small. I'm just hiding out down here, but I'm still here with you, all right? So the trimmer that I'm actually using to do this design is actually our Instinct motor, but this is the X Instinct trimmer. And as you see, it puts down some really clean lines, and this thing removes bulk really easy. And to be honest, I've gotten a lot better at doing designs because of this kid. So, shout out to you, Remy, if you're watching this. But he's always like giving me so much encouragement because he's like, yo, it's sick. I love the design. But we're going to start using the clipper here in a second. I just kind of sped this up. I was just showing you guys the process. Did I have a plan going in? Hell no. But did it come out cool? Yeah, I kind of liked it. I liked it a lot. So, if you like it, smash that thumbs up. And if you're like me, I never really got into doing a ton of artwork myself. I'm no King Saladeen, all right? But I really do admire the artwork. I really do want to get better at it. I really do want to practice it more. And when you have clients that provide you that opportunity, it's pretty awesome. And I know a lot of barbers are a little bit shy and like a little bit standoffish to try this stuff, because the truth is, even though I'm not an artist, this stuff took a while for me to start to get right. And the more I did it and the more often I pushed myself, the better I got. So I'm just saying, like, if you're like me and you're not really like, real artsy, don't worry about it, man. You're not alone. So now we're going to use this King Saladeen clipper. I just sped this process through real quick. Let me pause this for a second. Let's talk for a second. All right. So I just want to catch you guys up on exactly where we are in the cut. All right. So however it is you choose to cut hair, if you're brand new at cutting hair, let me drop a couple little things on you that might make this a little bit easier for you. If you're a pro, you can put your line in with just about anything and you can remove it. And you might even be overworking yourself. How often do we just go over and over again without making hardly a difference, right? So you can put your line in with a trimmer. However, if you're newer to cutting hair, or maybe you're just getting into it, a really smart way to have put this line in would have been to take my clipper, close it fully, put it in the fully closed position, and then put my line in with that. Now, had I done that, this line would be much easier to remove. But either way, the reason why I did this was to show you guys how easy this Erggo Crunch blade can actually remove this line. So we're gonna talk about removing that line. If you guys got any questions, feel free to drop them. My comments keep kind of disappearing because I keep clicking around, but I am paying attention. So if you guys want to ask any questions, please feel free to do so. This is exactly why we're here, exactly why we're doing this. So with that being said, all I've done so far in this cut I removed all the bulk off the sides using my X Instinct trimmer, which has the power to speed up when it senses resistance. So it's a great tool for removing bulk. It will cut just as fast as the detachable. The only difference is it's going to give you a little bit more control because it's a trimmer. Now, after that, we followed up underneath with our shaver, with our electric shaver. So he's already balled down there. And now we're going to start the process of removing the line. Let me make myself a little bit smaller here. And I'm going to drop this down. And if you guys are seeing the two videos and it's kind of messing with you, don't worry about it. The whole point of this was I had a chest mount and I also had a camera filming beside me. And I wanted to make this cool for like Instagram so you guys could see it like in the real format here. Now, all I'm doing is I put my lever in the fully open position and I'm just putting in my first guideline. I usually like to do this about the width of a finger or so. And my man Remy, man, he was looking down. I had to crank his head back a few times throughout this process. But once I got my guideline in, the next step for me, the next step I like to do is I love to close the clipper all the way. I like to close the clipper all the way down, and I like to put it, let me just open this a little bit. I'm not sure where all my cameras went, but let me put this back on. Where all my cameras go? All right, so what I like to do is I like to close this all the way, and then I will take something that is kind of square. Yeah, you guys like the new clipper we're working on here? So I'll take my line, right? And I'm just going to poke little by little into it with the corner. If you noticed, I put that guideline in with it horizontally. Now, one of the reasons why I like doing it this way is it actually saves me a hell of a lot of time in the end. Because a lot of times you're going to be able to kind of flick. You're going to also be able to hear. And a lot of times, as you notice, some of my section, without me even doing anything, has already started to disappear and it's already starting to come out. And that's going to save you time. That's going to stop you from reworking. Now, the other beautiful thing about it is when I'm using this blade, this Echo Crunch blade, I can actually hear it, right? And when I stop hearing it, I know that that's done, and I know it's time to move my lever a click. Now, Stylecraft has really put a lot of thought into how our guards work together, how our lever works together, how the blades work together. The blades work seamlessly with the trimmer blades, and the trimmer blades work seamlessly with the electric shaver. So if you follow these in this process, you're going to find it pretty easy. You're going to find it pretty easy to get your lines to come out. This is probably the number one thing. So if you guys comment the word king, you guys can see it right here at the top of this live stream. The word king will send you a link. You guys can join us on our eStreamly. This is just the other platform that everybody's viewing this on, but we are live on Instagram and YouTube for Stylecraft, and as well as the YouTube Barber Academy. And myself, I've been doing this since 2003. So here's another little key here, guys. We're gonna do another little thing here. All right. I just finished the open and the close process. I got my line, majority of it completely buffed out, right? And what I'm gonna do from this point is I'm actually going to jump straight to the half guard. I'm gonna skip the number one guard. I know you hear a lot of stuff about this. They're like, hey, skip the half, go straight to the one. When we're talking about speed and efficiency, we don't really want to do that, all right? If you're a little bit more advanced in your craft, if you're trying to save time, if you don't want to rework yourself so many times, well, going straight to that half guard is going to make it a little bit easier, all right? And you're going to wind up getting it to blend out quite quickly when you do this. Now, drop it in the comments, man. Where you guys coming from? Where you viewing from? And is this something you do in your process? And the other thing here is when we're fading, right? Specifically, when we're fading, we want a motor to run a little bit slower. You don't need the most powerful machine on earth when you're fading. And can you do a fade with a powerful machine? Absolutely, absolutely. I'm not saying you can't, but I'm just saying there's certain things that you can do to make your life a little bit easier. And one of those things would be to pick up a tool that's not running, full bore. So that would be a Rebel, like the King Saladeen. That would be an Erggo. There's a couple of very forgiving machines. But when we're trying to remove a bunch of bulk, yes, we might want to grab the Instinct and we might want to go to town with the Instinct. But when it comes time to really finesse that fade, and the other thing too is like, if you're somebody who moves really quick, if you're somebody who's just quickly, the strokes are quick, you tend to push really hard. In that case, a machine with a higher RPM like the Instinct, that might suit you perfectly fine. But in most cases, when you run into trouble, when you start to have a little bit of an issue, that's when you're going to want to pick up something that runs a little bit slower, something more along the lines of a Rebel, an Erggo, something with a magnetic motor potentially. That's what the Erggo has. And knowing the difference between the motors and when and where you should deploy them, that's really going to do yourself a huge favor. All right. Where's everybody tapping in from? Let's hear where we're at. Double tap the middle of the screen to thumbs up the video. We're just out here doing some, having some fun and, trying to share some of the game with you guys. Also, I really do want to thank Stylecraft for, having me be a part of this thing for as long as I have. I have had a hand in helping with a lot of these products and a lot of these prototypes. And I actually have one of my first Rebels. This was like back in 2023 that is still going strong. So one of the other things that we've seen quite a bit. Now, let me just talk about this real quick, this detail part here. If you notice, now I'm actually really starting to listen to the way my machine's cutting, and I'm actually just kind of hopping around and doing my details. And little by little, I'm going to get that whole thing buffed out, and he's going to be looking good, right? And it's kind of funny because when I was cutting the hair the other day, Kenny right next to me, man, I seen he was hearing all that crunch. He was like just kind of staring over there, and I was like laughing because he was like, dude. But when you put this on a slower running clipper, it just really makes fading super easy. So one thing that we've run into a few times is some of you guys, when you oil your machines, right? I'm going to show you guys something. Oh, I actually left the charging base at the shop. But so when you put this back in the base after you oil it, after you spray it, well, that oil is going to drip down and into your case. That can cause an issue. You don't want to do that. So first off, we don't want to over oil it either. We want to make sure that we have that thing either sitting on one of our magnetic mats, so it sits up like that, which is how most of us have our tools anyways, the majority of the time, or we might want to go ahead and just lay them down flat on the desk. So as you guys can see, this entire haircut, including the design, I actually did this whole haircut, I believe it was about 25 minutes, and I did spend a little extra time on the design, kind of messing with it there, but for the most part, this was about it, right? So I'll just skip to the end here. You guys can see where this is going. What do y'all think about the design? This kid here, he's so funny, man. He's always like checking in the mirror because he wants to see the design, and he thinks that he could like look like an alligator off the side of his head to kind of like check it out. You guys can see the code Eddie here with Stylecraft. If you guys choose to use that, if you guys choose to purchase that, you guys can use the code Eddie. You can save a little bit of extra money. And also, we are kind of hanging out here in this eStreamly stream. And if you guys want to check this out, all you got to do is comment the word King. You guys will get a link, and we'll have you guys over there. So one of the things that was kind of amazing to me when I was in Fort Worth Barber Supply, I was kind of talking to those guys, and apparently when they go around to sell tools in the vans, there's so many people that just they didn't want anything other than Stylecraft or Gamma. They were like, if it's not Stylecraft or it's not Gamma. And like, to me, that makes me pretty proud because it makes me feel like we've done a good job. Like, all we've ever really wanted was to provide you guys with the maximum amount of value that we can. We try to give you all the stuff we can give you within the box. Other brands are starting to kind of take notice of some of the stuff we're doing, but we were the first people to give you 3 plates in the box, and they've really racked up a lot of firsts. First vector motor ever to be put into a clipper. First person to just give you just about everything, USB-C charging stands, plugs, the Connect 3. If you have multiple machines from us, you guys can use the Connect 3, and you can connect 3 of your docks. I should actually have one here. That'd be cool. But 3 of your docks can plug into one. You can actually go up to 6. So you can have 6 tools on your station plugged in with only one thing plugged in. I just think that doing stuff like this and really listening to the barbers is pretty awesome. Now, when you're a newer barber, one of the things that's going to happen to you, right? You go to school and you are like charging in. You're so happy to be there. You're willing to learn. And then your patience starts to wear a little bit thin. You start to look around at what other people are doing, and you stop worrying about your, like what you should be. And you start to think, man, I'm just not as good as these guys, man. I just can't work with this, and I'm never going to make any money. I mean, all of these things are normal and natural things for you to feel when you first get into barbering, right? And this is one of the things that I try to tell you guys and warn you guys about. When you decide to become a barber, it is definitely one of the things you have to be very mentally fit. And you have to understand that when it is your time, all your skills are going to come together as long as you keep working on that, right? But if you don't put the work in, it's going to be very difficult for you guys to reach those levels that you hope to achieve. You want to own a shop one day. You want to maybe work with a brand one day. You want to maybe become an educator one day. Like, there is nothing wrong with you guys having that fire in your stomach, but you got to keep that fire burning. Now, you got to do things that push yourself out of your comfort zone on the regular. It's so easy to show up to the shop and cut Joe's hair every Tuesday, and you do the same thing day in and day out, and the whole thing kind of becomes a bit monotonous, and you're just not really growing as an artist or as a person. So one of the things I really would encourage you guys to do is head over to the Stylecraft website. You guys will see all of our educational events that we have throughout the whole country. You guys can join us at the shows where we have great platform artists that have really incredible stories. BARBER, he's been working with us now this year. That guy is a fantastic just influence on everybody around them. You know, they get people who really just inspire you on these stages, and it makes you feel just like recharged, right? I want to go into the shop and I want to do better. Maybe I'm not a Bodie Barber. Maybe I'm not a Victorino Styles, or I'm don't worry about being somebody else. The thing about it is you just get inspired by these people, right? And you want to go in there and you just be yourself. And in time, it will happen. But the worst thing you could possibly do to yourself is just to negatively self-talk. You don't want to do any of that. Just, hey, if I didn't get this haircut right today, that's okay because I'm getting better. I'm working on it. Even, just keeping that mind state, it's just so important. I had a guy ask me the other day, well, what do you do if you mess somebody's haircut up? I'm like, first off, I don't mess up haircuts anymore. It's not even, literally, when I cut hair right now, I'm completely on autopilot. La, 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 la. I mean, like, literally, I don't think of anything other than how's my client? Is he comfortable? Are they happy? Are they having a good experience here? Because I have enough experience with the haircut, I don't have to think about it anymore. And you could get there too. I remember somebody saying, man, I wish I could get there. I wish I didn't have to think so hard when I was doing a haircut and I could have conversations while I'm cutting people's hair. You will get there, man. All of that will happen for you. And the first step to doing that is putting in that work. But it's so easy to start negatively self-talking yourself and talking yourself down. So one of the things that we try to do at all of our classes and all of our education is we try to inspire you. We try to show you guys that I ain't no different than you. Vic ain't no different than me. Bordy ain't no different than anybody else. All of these guys have stories that are just like yours, and all of them work really, really hard to get where they're at. And another thing I gotta say that has just been super cool when it comes to Stylecraft is just one of the things that's near and dear to my heart is recently we paid off a barber tuition for somebody in need, and it was just an incredible experience. We went to Barber Academy of Orlando, and through the help of both Booked In and Stylecraft, we were able to actually surprise one of the students named James. He's actually become like one of my friends. I still text him, and I think the world of him and Orlando Barber Academy. That whole thing is just fantastic. But one of the things that, just really hit home was I was crying when I gave him the news. My cameraman was crying. Like, it was just such a moment. And the fact that Stylecraft was willing to support me in that journey, not once, but twice. We've actually paid off 2 barber tuitions. So these are the reasons why I sit back and I say, why do I want to buy a Stylecraft clipper? Why do I want to buy a Gamma clipper? It's not just about that. All right, it's about the fact that they've just continued to reinvest in education and just doing things that are making lives better for the people around them. So they went from a smaller family-owned company that is just completely exploding and getting exposure, and now we're out here reaching out to people like Mr. Cartoon and King Saladeen. And if you guys want to purchase any of this stuff, you guys can purchase it today. These are a limited release. All right, so drop your order number in the live stream if you've purchased something. I see we've had some people checking in. I got my eStreamly over here, and I see there's about like 30 of you guys over here. So double tap the middle of the screen if you guys are enjoying the content. but you guys can head over. You can purchase this. These are a limited release. This is just like the Mr. Cartoon clipper, whereas they're gone, right? And there ain't no getting them back. And the people who have them are selling them for an awful lot. There's almost like a little bit of a secondary market when it comes to things like this. And real quick, chat, help me out. We got a good amount of you guys in here, and I'm just curious if you had it, theoretically speaking, if you had it, which lid are you rocking with? All right, the one that it came with. Let's say the one that it came with, the one on the right, or the one on the left. Drop it in the comments right now. I actually think this one is the most intricate. There's a lot of things going on with it, but there's this weird thing that when you switch your lid to your clipper and you put a different lid on here, it almost feels like you're working with an entirely different clipper. And it's just kind of interesting how your brain works like that. Like I would put this on, and when I get to the shop, I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to feel like I'm cutting hair with something completely new and something completely different. And, you know, when I'm trying to learn how to do designs and just get better at doing stuff like this, I'm kind of thinking about it like it's nice to be able to look at my tool and kind of feel inspired by like, yo, look at this crazy line. Look at the way they did this. Look at the way they did that. They put a dollar sign here. Like I'm able to look at this stuff and kind of get ideas about like what I want to do my next design about. Because the only time that I can actually think during a haircut is when I'm being pushed out of my comfort zone a little bit and doing designs and doing shows and stage work and things like that. All of that stuff kind of helps push me out of my comfort zone a little bit. And I would really encourage you guys to spend a little bit of time there. So Rich Cuts, he said left. So he's feeling this one. If that was the left, if you guys were looking at it from my side or from your side. But yeah, I think that's the one he's talking about. But overall, all three of these are really cool. So if you have another Rebel clipper and you decide to purchase this one, you guys can put these lids on them. So that's what I'm thinking I'm going to do. I got 2 more Rebels at the shop. I think I'm going to put one on all 3 of them. So if you guys have any questions as it comes to the blades, one thing that I kind of notice when I'm watching other barbers, even really talented barbers, right? One thing I've noticed is a lot of them will spend a lot of time on certain sections that they just don't need to spend on that section. And it's because they're forcing that blade or that clipper to work that section when that is not the proper one to use for that thing. So an example would be you're doing clipper over comb and you're using a fade blade, right? A fade blade is not really designed for clipper over comb. A tapered blade or a vapor blade, that's going to allow more hair to get into the teeth of the clipper. That's going to be more efficient when you're cutting with it. Now, let's say that you get to a part in your haircut where you're fighting with some of your lines up in the parietal ridge sections, right? If you're fighting with those lines up in that section, you definitely don't want to be using a fade blade. You want to be using something softer. You want to be using an Erggo crunch blade or a taper blade. Those are going to be a little bit easier for that section. Barony Cut Factory, I'm probably not saying that right. He said, I cut 250 people a month with this clipper. There are no failures. Absolutely the best so far. Fire emoji, go. Appreciate you, man. We appreciate your support. And if you're just a fan of like the traditional shape, right? Like Stylecraft had this like vision. And one of the visions that we had was let's look at what the industry was doing before Stylecraft. A lot of the same stuff, right? There would be maybe a new lid, maybe a slight variation to a blade, but there wasn't anything like, wow, that's crazy and that's different, right? So at that time, all the traditional stuff that was going on, it was fine, right? It was cool, but there was just nothing new, right? Stylecraft had this vision. They're like, yo, let's make everything smaller. Let's give them more stuff in the box. Let's give them stands and different ways to charge it. And we're going to include different colored levers. And all of these things were carefully thought out. It wasn't just like an accident, like we threw some stuff in a box and it just happened. Like we listen to barbers and stylists. We try to produce the best possible tools that we can as a result of that. And if somebody calls us tomorrow and they say, hey, you know, it would be nice if you guys included this, or like if we started having an issue, we can change directions and we listen to what people have to say. So this particular Rebel here actually has about 6 key updates compared to one of my first Rebels. 1 is the motor, 2 is the switch, We actually have the switch more protected, so that's a lot less likely to fail. But if you get water inside your case, this is usually how this happens. If somebody gets water inside their case, they can have an issue here. If I take off this blade, you're going to see the cam followers are green. That's a much more durable piece of plastic that doesn't wear out as quickly. So that actually cuts the noise down. I did a video one time showing a pair of Rebels that got up to like 77 decibels. And then after I put this on here, it dropped to like 68, 69 decibels. So that's one of the key features. The motor previously, the very first Rebel, it actually had a couple different holes at the top of the motor. We've actually gotten rid of those. Now it only has one breather, a hole there. The whole, pretty much the whole clipper back to front has seen many updates throughout the time. So when you guys buy this Rebel clipper, you guys are buying the actual like latest iteration of it and one of the most bulletproof ones in our lineup. But this is the thing. If you're more traditional, like if you like the feel of something traditional, maybe you don't want something that's super small or different or compact or whatever, for whatever reason, this is one that's like, if you're a corded clipper guy or a girl, you just always had a corded clipper, this is a great clipper for you to get started with. Because the first thing that you're going to say is, wow, that thing is light. Wow, it lasts a long time. These are things I hear all the time. Can you touch up more on that? Everybody around me just uses fade blades and don't recommend any other. The reason why they're using fade blades is because a fade blade will remove that harsh line. So from their point of view, which this is correct, when you have a harsh line, like that line you see me take out in that video, when you have a harsh line, that fade blade is going to be a good tool for you to remove that line with. So in their mind, they're saying, hey, that's the most difficult part of the haircut. This is making that part of the haircut easier. But what they're not realizing is as you move up the hair in greater lengths and you start using guards, a better tool for them to use would be something with an Echo Crunch, something with a fade blade, a vapor blade on it, or a taper blade. So those are going to provide you the ability to do this. This is what a fade blade does not do. When I start flicking into a section and I go a little bit too high, fade blade is going to cut a hole right in that section, causing me to potentially have to bring the whole fade up a little bit higher and rework the whole section. When I'm using a taper blade, it doesn't cut every single hair. It allows for a lot more forgiveness. And I guarantee you, if you put one on your station, you're going to see your haircut times drop. If you put an Echo Crunch blade on your clipper and you're using your ears while you're cutting hair, you're going to see that you're not reworking every section so many times. You're going to find a lot of little shortcuts in the things that you do. So when it comes like a guy comes in and he's got like a pile of hair on him, just hair everywhere, a perfect tool, man, a perfect tool to use is going to be the Instinct. I just recently gave one to somebody that I worked with for years at the other barbershop, and he was like floored. He's like, dude, I can't believe how well this cuts. This thing cuts like a detachable. And none of these are actually color graded. I was actually going to show you guys. I got a couple clippers here. Let me see here. I'm looking for a file here. I was gonna show you guys, but when you get right down to it, using the exact same tool for the entire haircut, it's just not really advisable. It's not smart, and it's going to cost you some time. I'm not saying that you guys are going to make a mistake and it's not going to work. It's going to work. But the thing about it is, if you want to maximize your efficiency, if you want to get your haircut done a little quicker without compromising any quality, using the right tool for the right job makes the most sense. And one basic, quick question, chat. How many clippers do you got on your station? Those of you guys who are working barbers, how many clippers and how many trimmers do you have on your station? Comment the word King and you guys can buy it for a discount today. You guys can head over to the live shopping that we're doing over here through eStreamly. So you guys can check that out. But how many clippers and how many trimmers do you guys got? Drop it in the chat. I'm just curious. When you go to your shop, I looked around my shop the other day. Almost everybody in the shop that we work at, I mean, I own it, but everybody in the shop has probably 6, maybe 7 clippers on their station. All right. Somebody's asking me, what's the best trimmer right now? I really believe the best trimmer out right now, and this is me personally. I actually think the Saber trimmer is the best trimmer out. Digital brushless, super, super quiet, and it never gets loud. I got one that's 2 years old, and I still just plow through bulk like the first day I had it. But the reason why I'm asking you guys this is if I wanted to do the most minimum, if use code Eddie 10, use code Eddie, and you'll save some money off of your purchase. So you guys can check out that link. It's just embedded right there. So this is Barber Batman. He uses 3 clippers and 2 trimmers. All right. I'm going to tell you guys the absolute minimum that you can really get by and still be efficient is going to be at least 2 clippers and 2 trimmers. One of your trimmers should be set really tight to make really, really crispy lines, safe to use across the top of the forehead, safe to use for using, making designs, but not really great for using under the neck or the back of the neck because you have them set so close that they're going to irritate those clients, which is why you need trimmer number 2. And one thing that Stylecraft did, I'm going to switch you guys over to this. One thing that Stylecraft did also that makes this easier is this little zero gapping tool here. Camera, focus. So if you notice on this side of the zero gapping tool, it says zero gap aggressive. And this side, it says zero gap soft. So literally all I have to do is put my blade in here, close this, and I'm going to have a soft set trimmer, and I'm going to also be able to set it aggressive. So I can have both. And this tool comes with many of our trimmers. It comes with, off the top of my head, I believe it comes with the Cyborg. I believe it might come with the Saber. It comes with the boosted trimmer. It comes with a few of them. And you can also purchase it separately if you want. But having a trimmer that is set close and having a trimmer that is set back. So quick question, chat. If I'm going to put my guideline in, my bald skin line in, which one am I going to use? Am I going to use the zero gap aggressive or am I going to use the one that's set back, right? We have a tool for everything. So obviously the answer to that is I'm going to use my setback trimmer. The trimmer that you see me put the guideline in with Remy, I put that in with a soft set trimmer. I'm not going to put that in with my harshest cutting trimmer. All right. So after that, I can follow up underneath that. If I'm fighting with the line, I can also use my soft set trimmer. So I can also, if I'm not getting the line out, I can go to my zero gap aggressive. So you understand pretty easily why I'm using 2 trimmers. That's one of those things that just makes your life easy. So the next thing would be with my clippers, I'm going to do the same thing. With my clippers, I actually could, if I really want to have some great efficiency, I actually could have 2 or 3, right? So the number 1 blade that I would never want to not cut hair with, I would never want to put this blade down. This is the newest wave and one of the best possible things that we could be using right now for fading, and for the majority of your haircut, using an Echo Crunch blade makes sense because this is a mixture between a taper blade and a fade blade. But if I have this and I had another clipper with a fade blade on it, well, I got something that's going to do everything. And if I wanted to add one more iron to the fire, I will grab another clipper and put a taper blade on it. So if I'm going to a show, when we go to a show, we're trying to travel light. And one thing that's cool about Stylecraft is we have continuity in charging. If you have any of our other machines, right? You can take that plug, you can plug in every single Stylecraft tool you have. We're not like some other companies that didn't think that through. We thought that through. When we go to shows, I bring one charging cable and that's it. I could charge the whole lineup. But the other thing you're not seeing at shows is the barbers who are up there are really damn good at what they do, and they could get it done with just one while they're on stage if they have to. But when they're in their shop, when they're actually working on Pete or Joe or Tim or Craig, they're trying to move quick. All right, these guys aren't going on Instagram. These guys are going in their pocket and giving you their money. And the better a haircut you can do in the shorter amount of time is what you're looking to do, and that's why you're going to want to have some of these different options. So when it comes right down to it, there are things that you guys can do to be more efficient. I see this all the time. I see this every day. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop a comment. Join me one of my classes. Check out Stylecraft's website. You guys can see where all the classes are, where all the events are. Definitely keep it locked on the Stylecraft Instagram page, because this is where you're going to get a lot of your updates as far as where we're at, where we're going to be next. And we're definitely up to some things, guys. We haven't even scratched the surface of the things that are going to go on over the next year or two. So we're just going to keep coming to the table with new and different and better ideas. And sometimes it's at our own detriment because you guys are like, man, how did you guys put out this clipper right after you put out this clipper right after you put out this clipper? Because like we're not like other companies. We don't sit on good ideas and give them out to you years later. Like that's what companies like Apple does. Apple's got a new iPhone. They have iPhone 3032 probably already worked out. And they're like, people would sure love this, but they're not getting that shit. Not yet. We don't do that. We are for the people. We want to do things that are going to blow you away. And when we get our eyes on something, when we find something that we think is going to really blow up, we try to get it to you right away. So we don't sit on things. We're just out here trying to continue to innovate and have fun and encourage and inspire. And those are the things that we really want to do. Those are the things that I really want to do. I've long since given up on the views or any of the other stuff. And you guys can join our Facebook group for the latest educational events as well. So we got a Facebook group. Those of you guys who I don't know who still uses Facebook. I use the marketplace a little bit more, probably a little more than I should. But that's about it, y'all. I really do appreciate all of you guys for hopping into this live, kicking it with me. I really do appreciate Stylecraft for having me host this particular session in this live. I hope you guys enjoyed what you've seen today, and we will be doing this more frequently. So keep it locked right here at the YouTube Barber Academy. Keep it locked right here at Stylecraft US, Stylecraft Pro in the Instagram space because we're going live on a couple of different places. But yeah, just keep it locked with us, and we're going to keep on rocking here. I'll get some more cuts filmed with this, and we'll do another one. Plus, we got a couple other things. I mean, it's no secret to boost it up, and all these other things are going on. So we got some stuff that when the time is right, we'll be back over here. If you guys like this style of live, if you guys like this style of content where I could just show you the video rather than just like sit there for an hour doing the haircut, let me know. Let me know. If you guys enjoy what we're doing here, drop a comment. If you're watching this later on today, drop a comment, all right? With that being said, this is the YouTube Barber Academy with over 1,000 videos to help you learn, and Stylecraft Pro with over almost 200,000 subscribers. Keep it locked right here. We'll catch you guys in the next one. I'm out. Peace.